Have you ever heard of a judgment so shocking that it revealed the truth without a single piece of evidence? This is the story of two women, one baby, and a king whose wisdom changed history. Long before that courtroom fell silent, there was a prayer, whispered by a young man who didn't feel ready to rule. Solomon had just inherited the throne of his father, King David. The weight of a kingdom sat heavy on his shoulders. He didn't ask God for gold or power or the lives of his enemies. Instead, one night, as he stood beneath the open sky at Gibeon, he prayed, "Lord, give your servant an understanding heart to judge your people, that I may discern between good and evil." And God answered him. He promised Solomon wisdom beyond any man before or after him, the kind that sees through the surface and into the soul. But no one truly understood what that meant, until the day two women stood before his throne. It began in a small, crowded home on the edge of Jerusalem. Two women, both prostitutes, lived together. Each had recently given birth, two baby boys, only days apart. The home was humble, filled with the soft cries of newborns and the quiet exhaustion of motherhood. For a short while, life was peaceful. But one night, tragedy struck. One woman, exhausted, rolled over in her sleep and accidentally smothered her baby. When she woke and realized what had happened, horror filled her chest. And then something darker followed. Denial, desperation, jealousy. She looked over and saw the other woman's child sleeping soundly. In that moment, her grief twisted into something unbearable. She switched the babies, placing her dead son in the other child's arms and taking the living one for herself. When morning came, the second woman woke, smiling at the thought of feeding her baby. But the moment she looked closely, everything in her shattered. The child beside her wasn't hers. The face was wrong, the features different. Her baby, the living one, was gone. She screamed, confronted the other woman, but the thief only shook her head and said, "No, the living child is mine. Yours is dead." The argument echoed through the neighborhood until someone brought word to the palace. The day they stood before Solomon, the court was tense. The guards held the baby carefully, the small, innocent heart beating between two desperate mothers. The first woman fell to her knees and spoke through her tears. "My lord, she and I live in the same house. I gave birth, and 3 days later, she gave birth too. But one night, her son died in her sleep. She switched the babies while I slept. When I woke, I saw that the dead child beside me was not mine." The other woman's voice was sharp and cold. "No, the living one is mine. The dead one is hers." Back and forth they went. No witnesses, no family, no proof, only the cries of two women, one filled with grief, the other with guilt, and a baby caught between them. Everyone turned to Solomon. What would he do? How could anyone tell the truth in such a tangled story? But Solomon didn't rush. He watched them, their faces, their tone, the way they looked at the child. And then quietly, he spoke. "Bring me a sword." The court gasped. Even the guards hesitated. When the sword was brought, Solomon said calmly, "Cut the living child in two and give half to each woman." The words hit like thunder. The first woman froze, her eyes wide, her breath caught. Then she cried out, falling to her knees, "No, my lord, please. Give her the baby. Only do not kill him." But the other woman's face twisted with bitterness. She crossed her arms and said, "Yes, divide him. Let neither of us have him." In that instant the truth revealed itself. Solomon raised his hand, stopping the guards. "Do not harm the child," he said. "Give the baby to the woman who pleaded for his life. She is the true mother." The court erupted in murmurs. The guards bowed their heads. The weeping mother clutched her son to her chest, her tears falling on his tiny face. And the other woman stood in silence, grief finally overtaking her pride. News of the judgment spread through Israel like wildfire. People whispered, "Surely the wisdom of God is in this king." But the story wasn't just about Solomon's intelligence. It was about the kind of wisdom that comes from compassion, the ability to see truth when others are blinded by emotion. That day marked the beginning of Solomon's legendary reign, one built not on fear or strength, but on understanding. Because true wisdom doesn't just reveal who is right, it reveals who has love in their heart. And love, real love, would rather lose everything than see innocence destroyed. So the next time you face a situation clouded with emotion and confusion, remember this: wisdom isn't just knowing facts. It's seeing through the noise and finding truth in the heart of pain. Please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories that uncover the mysteries of history, faith, and the power of human emotion.